Good evening, everyone. Wherever you are listening from, welcome to episode 3 of our podcast, Not the Perfect Crime. Today's case takes us to Los Angeles, in the United States. The date, November 8th, 1999. Early that morning, emergency services receive a call. A citizen says he has just found a body in a small alley off La Brie Avenue, in Hollywood. The police rush to the scene. They examine the place. They examine the body. At first, they can't say for sure whether the man is the victim of a traffic accident or of a deliberate killing. What they can see is this. The man is elderly, and everything about him, his clothes, his appearance, says homeless. Someone who lives in the streets, or sometimes in shelters. From the marks on the body, it looks like he has been run over by a car. Maybe by accident, maybe on purpose. There are clear tire marks on his clothes, bruises and abrasions on his face and hands. So what happened? Did a driver simply not see him, drag him down the alley, and leave him there? Or did someone hit him, then intentionally move his body, and prop him against a wall so he wouldn't be discovered right away? The alley is isolated. Not much foot traffic. Not many witnesses. A little later, the medical examiner's report adds something strange. The victim was lying down, asleep, when the car ran over him. And here's the odd part. A homeless man who is used to sleeping on sidewalks and in doorways, goes and lies down right in the middle of a roadway. Even drunk, you'd expect him to curl up somewhere off to the side, out of harm's way. But the toxicology report says something clear. He wasn't drunk at all. No alcohol in his blood. No drugs. No heroin either. Even though heroin is the cheap and common drug among the homeless in Los Angeles at that time. Heroin leaves injection marks in the veins of the arms. This man has none. To identify him, the police take his fingerprints and send them to the technical department in Sacramento, the capital of California. They get a hit. His name is Paul Vados, a Hungarian immigrant living in Hollywood. No serious criminal record. No family around. Just another invisible man on the margins of the city. Now the story starts to get interesting. Before the police even receive the fingerprint report, 2 elderly women walk into the station to file a missing person report. One is named Helen Golay. The other is named Olga Rutterschmidt. Both are over 70. But they don't act like little old ladies. Their hair is dyed. They wear perfume and makeup. They choose their outfits carefully. They behave as if they are much younger women, and they clearly love to look after themselves and be noticed. The man they have come to report missing is Paul Vados. At that moment, the police still haven't connected the body in the alley to his name. Helen says that Paul is her fiancé. At the same time, she claims he is also a relative of Olga, who has also come from Hungary. The 2 ladies are very upset, very emotional. They say they have tried everything to keep him off the streets. They tell the officers how much they care about him, how they have taken him into their home, how he always ends up going back to the street. Every time we bring him home, he runs away, they say. This time, he has been gone too long. They explain he has no family, no one else in the world but them. Then comes a detail that really surprises the officers. The 2 women also ask for an official certificate stating that Paul is dead, so they can file a life insurance claim. They say they have taken out a policy on his life, and they need proof of death to get the money from the insurance company. The police tell them, calm down. First, we investigate. When things are clear, you will get the paperwork you need. Shortly after, once the body has been formally identified as Paul Vados, the police call Helen and Olga. They take them to the morgue and ask them to confirm whether the dead man is really Paul. They look at him. They say yes, that's him. The police then release the body to them for burial. And here comes the shocking part. This man, on whose death they are about to cash in hundreds of thousands of dollars from life insurance policies, is dumped by them in a common grave, in a section reserved for the poor and the homeless. No ceremony. No headstone. No dignified funeral. Nothing. As cheaply as possible, even though all expenses could have been covered by the insurance money. Apparently, For these loving women, even that is too much to spend. Time passes. June 22nd, 2005. Almost 6 years after Paul Vados is buried, Los Angeles Emergency Services receive another call. A body has been found in a small alley near Westwood Boulevard in West Los Angeles. This time, the victim has identification on him. He has clearly been run over as well. The police quickly learn his name. Kenneth McDavid, 50 years old, also living in Hollywood. The autopsy shows that his rib cage has been crushed. His entire chest is flattened. No doubt, something very heavy has rolled over him. Bones shattered. The spine broken. Just like in the case of Paul Vados 6 years earlier. It also looks as though the car has dragged him along the ground because his whole body is covered in scrapes and torn skin. His skull is cracked, but his glasses are not broken. They are still there, intact on his face. This time, the toxicology report is different. Kenneth has a very high level of alcohol in his blood. He is extremely drunk. On top of that, he has several medications in his system. Zolpidem, a sleeping pill. Vicodin, a strong painkiller. Topiramate, another powerful drug. In short, the man is a walking pharmacy. The amount in his blood is enough to send him into another world entirely. So the big question appears. Did he take all that himself? Or did someone make him swallow it? This time, the investigators have something they didn't have in the Vados case. Security cameras. A restaurant nearby has a surveillance camera looking down the alley. The police collect the footage and examine it carefully. On the video, they see a car with Ohio license plates turn into the alley. A few moments later, the car's headlights go off. After a short while, they switch back on, and the car leaves the alley. The images are grainy and dark. The police send the tape to a forensic lab, hoping they can enhance the picture enough to read the license plate, or at least identify the car model or the driver's face. No luck. The plate remains unreadable. The make of the car is also hard to pin down. It looks like it might be a Ford Taurus, or maybe a Mercury. What they are sure of is that it is a 6-seater family car. Investigators comb the alley where the body is found, searching for any physical evidence. At first, they find nothing. But they don't give up. 7 months later, a life insurance company calls the LAPD. 2 elderly women have just come in to claim a very large life insurance payout on the death of a man named Kenneth Their names, Helen and Olga. They want the insurance company to pay out $1 million. On Kenneth's policy. For the detectives, this is more than suspicious. Then one of their colleagues suddenly remembers something. He goes to the archives, comes back carrying an old file, and lays it on the table. It is the file for the 1999 case of Paul Vados. Also, run over by a car. Also linked to the same 2 women, Helen Golay and Olga Rutterschmidt. The similarities are too big to ignore. 2 homeless men, 6 years apart, both apparently run over in quiet alleys at night. The same 2 women reporting them missing. The same 2 women claiming to be their only caretakers. The same 2 women trying to cash huge life insurance policies. Still, the detectives are reluctant to believe that these 2 frail grandmothers in their 80s could be behind such brutal killings, crushed under the wheels of a car, and all for money. It seems unbelievable. There must be more to the story. The police dig deeper. They put Helen and Olga under surveillance. Around 15 officers are assigned to follow them, watch their every move, record their conversations. Some colleagues laugh. How many cops do you need to tail to grandmas? But step by step, the picture becomes clearer. The investigators look into the past of both women. Helen Golay is the mastermind. Born in 1931 in Eastland, Texas. Her father dies in a car crash when she is young, and she is raised by her grandmother. When the grandmother dies, Helen is sent to an uncle in Washington state. She bounces from house to house, from foster care to group homes. As an adult, she goes to California. Marries, has 2 kids, divorces, remarries, has another child, divorces again. She lives off real estate, buying small apartment buildings and renting them out. But by the 80s and 90s, the property market is tough, and money is tight. So she comes up with a new way to make money, a hellish idea you'd think even the devil wouldn't have. She spies on her tenants, catches them breaking rules, and then blackmails them. Pay up, or I report you. It becomes her habit. Her obsession is simple: profit at any cost. Olga Rutterschmidt's story is different. Born in Hungary in 1933, she marries a fellow Hungarian and emigrates with him to the United States in 19. They have no children. They settle in Hollywood. Over time, in the neighborhood, Olga becomes known as the woman who always complains, always meddles in other people's business. She has some vocational training, but never really works with it. Helen and Olga meet in a gym in 1980. Two middle-aged women, both obsessed with their looks. They hit it off. Together, they decide to become a team of scammers. Their specialty: targeting men older than 50 who have money, and who are a bit vain or lonely. At first, they mostly steal wallets, credit cards, bits of jewelry. Many of the men they trick never report it. They are married, and they don't want their wives to find out what they have been doing in hotels with these ladies. But eventually, Helen and Olga realize that small scams won't be enough forever. They want something bigger. In 1997, they start going regularly to a church in Hollywood that serves free dinners to the homeless. They introduce themselves to the pastor as volunteers, offering to help. To devout, generous older women wanting to feed the poor. Who would suspect them? One of the regulars at that church kitchen is a homeless man from Hungary, Paul Vader. Somehow, among all the people there, Helen and Olga single him out. They sit with him. They ask about his life, his past, his troubles. They check that he has no close family, no one to protect him. Then they turn on the charm, with their rings and gold bracelets sparkling under the lights. For Paul, who has nothing, they look like rich angels sent from heaven. They tell him they have an empty apartment he can stay in. They will help him see doctors, buy new clothes. For Paul, it is like a dream. He signs whatever papers they give him, without reading a word. He thinks it is just tenancy contracts, basic paperwork. In reality, he is signing multiple life insurance policies, naming Helen and Olga as the sole beneficiaries. Helen declares to the insurance company that she is his fiancée, and that Olga is his cousin. On top of that, Helen secretly makes him sign 3 more contracts, in which she will be the only beneficiary, cutting Olga out of part of the money. In 2000, after Paul's death, the insurance money is slow to come. Olga tries to collect before Helen does, going behind her partner's back. The friendship begins to crack. But eventually, after threats and arguments, the insurance companies pay. Between them, over $600,000 lands in the women's accounts. And that is only the beginning. Helen then gets another stroke of luck. A fellow landlord she knows dies, and, somehow, she manages to get control of 13 apartment units he owned. His family suspects something, but they never recover the properties. Helen now has serious cash. She buys a luxury Mercedes, an apartment full of jewelry. But by 2002, the money starts to run out. Huge spending. Fancy lifestyle. The well is drying up. The relationship between Helen and Olga deteriorates. Each suspects the other. Each watches the other's moves. Still, the lure of big money is stronger than the tension. They decide to do it again. Find another vulnerable man. Take out insurance in his name. Then eliminate him. In 2004, they go back to the same kind of church program, where they found Paul. This time, they meet Kenneth Unlike Paul, Kenneth has a family and some education, but life has brought him down. Health problems. Trouble concentrating. He has ended up on the street. Again, they play the same game. Kindness, food, a place to stay, doctor's appointments, new clothes. Again, they push papers in front of him, and he signs, not understanding that he is insuring his own death. In total, Helen and Olga arrange policies, worth several $1 million, on their 2 victims. A fortune. Feeding and housing each man costs them about $3,000 a month. But they see it as an investment that will pay back many times over, once the man is dead. As the money grows, so does the greed. Helen tries to remove Olga's name from some of the policies, making herself the sole beneficiary. Olga doesn't like that at all. Their alliance is cracking. Meanwhile, the police keep watching. They discover that Paul Vados actually has a daughter. They track down members of Kenneth's family too. His sister is stunned to hear of his death. She has never heard of Helen or Olga. She has no idea her brother has been insured for such huge sums. While surveillance continues, officers see Olga with another elderly Hungarian man, Joseph Gabor, about 90 years old. They watch as Olga hands him documents to sign. More insurance contracts. The detectives realize that Helen and Olga are preparing a 3rd victim. They still don't have enough to prove murder, but they do have enough to arrest them for insurance fraud and forgery. On May 18, 2006, they bring both women in for questioning. First, separately. Both stay silent. Both deny everything. Then the police leave them together in the interrogation room, with the cameras still rolling. Olga starts shouting at Helen, accusing her of ruining everything with her greed. Helen stays mostly quiet. She knows very well that everything is being recorded. The detectives then search the women's home. Helen is obsessively organized. She keeps drawers full of neatly filed papers. Among them, they find a note with a car license plate number. When they check it with the motor vehicle department, it comes back as a Mercury station wagon, the same kind of car that the restaurant security camera captured near the scene of Kenneth's death. Further investigation shows that the car once belonged to a family in Los Angeles, who bought it cheap at a police impound auction. But when the detectives dig deeper into the car's history, one name appears as a previous registered owner, Helen Golay. She and Olga bought it in 2004 from a city auction. When Kenneth is killed, the odometer shows only 295 kilometers. Barely driven. It looks very much like a car acquired for one purpose: to kill. Helen denies ever owning the car. But neighbors have a photo. The same car parked in front of Helen and Olga's building, with the 2 women posing next to it. Still, the investigators need something more concrete. Physical evidence linking that car to the murder. They re-examine the vehicle carefully and send it to accident reconstruction experts. Hidden traces of blood are found and tested. The blood matches Kenneth McDavid. On the tires, they even find traces of his DNA. Now the chain is almost complete. The method in both killings is the same. Drug the victim heavily. Take him out late at night when the streets are empty. Lay him unconscious in a dark alley. Then run him over with a car, crushing his body, and later claim life insurance money as grieving caretakers. The trial begins on March 18, 2008. 2 very old women walk into the courtroom, close to 90, looking like someone's grandmothers. Anyone seeing them for the first time would never imagine. They are being tried for murder. They never confess. They stick to their story. They deny everything. They try to appear harmless. But the evidence is overwhelming. The policies, the money, the car, the tow truck receipt, the DNA, the recordings, the pattern repeated twice. On top of that, Joseph Gabor testifies in court. He says Olga brought him life insurance papers and insisted he sign them, making her the beneficiary, just as they had done with Paul and Kenneth. In the end, the judge pronounces the sentence everyone is expecting: life in prison, with no possibility of parole. 2 old women who hunted the most vulnerable for profit. 2 grandmothers who turned alleys into killing grounds, and human lives into payouts. Thank you for listening to this episode of our podcast. If you'd like more stories like this, don't forget to follow and share it with someone who loves true crime as much as you do. Until next time, stay safe and trust your instincts.